Hey guys, in this video I'm going to be showing you the basics of groups and operations for TSM, which is Trade Skill Master. Let's get into it. Alright, so I'm guessing you have TSM set up and it's working correctly. If you have not, I do have a video on that if you do want to watch how to install and set up TSM properly. Now, once you have it all set up, I'll show you how to actually use the groups and operations. So if you head over to the TSM application by clicking the little thing on your minimap, it will bring up this page right here. Now on this page you'll see dashboard, ledger, groups, operations and settings. So what I'm going to be teaching you today is groups and operations. And the operations I'm going to be teaching are going to be auctioning and crafting mainly, but auctioning being the main one. So to create a group, well, before you can actually use the base group. Now this will be the default group that it will make for your TSM when you first download it. And basically anything that is in your bags, it will be inside of the base group. So when you go to sell in the auction house, all these items will be, everything that is in your inventory will be in this group. Now the operations for this group, if you click on operations, and you can see it's all on default. So if we go over to the operations and check out the default operations for auctioning, which is selling on the auction house, and there's hashtag default. So this is the operations by default that it will be using. Now these are okay to just sell the item up in the auction house. One thing that you need to take into consideration is that if it is below a certain price, it won't post at all. So if you want to make sure that they're always posting and you're just selling farmed items, you want to have this set on post at minimum price, and this will basically post at the minimum price, and then the others will post at the maximum price. Now you can play around with these, but it's a bit more, you need a bit more experience to understand it all. But it goes off DB market, DB region market, and this just means basically the market price on your realm is DB market, and then DB region market is the market value average across all the realms on your region. However, if you're just getting started, you don't really have to play with this too much. You can just leave it as it is and it'll work. With this group, you'll be posting for 24 hours, and you only will be posting 5 of the same item at a time. Now if you're farming and trying to sell like materials, I would recommend bumping this all the way up to the maximum, which is 50,000. This way you can post all the materials that you have. Say you've got a stack of 2,000 materials you want to sell. Now you can actually sell all 2,000 of them at once by just using the basic posting when you go onto the auction house with TSM. So this is the group that is paired, this is the operation that is paired with your basic group. Now this can work fine for just farmed items. You want to get them up in the auction house easily. You can use these two groups. So I will go ahead and I'll show you how to actually do it with this basic setup, basically the default setup. So we'll head over to the auction house and I'll show you how to post items with the basic group, the default group. Okay, so we're at the auction house and we've got a few random items in our inventory, just from farming, just some random stuff. Now you want to click on the auction house and you want to head over to the TSM version. By doing that, you just click on TSM down the bottom and it'll bring up this page right here. So this is the auction house but in the TSM add-on format. So at the top you've got browse, auctioning, snipe, my auctions. Now to post items you want to go to auctioning, and then it will bring up a list of all your groups. So groups are just basically groups of items, and you can put them into different groups so they do different things when you want to sell them. So basically to just sell with the basic group, you want to make sure that this is selected, the base group, and now this will sell everything in your inventory. So you just want to click on post scan, run post scan, and as you can see it will bring up all the things in your inventory and the prices they're going to be selling for, and it will bring up the info about the post. So for example, this first one is undercutting competition. The next one is below the minimum price, so it will post at the minimum price. Then they're undercutting again, posting at the normal price, meaning there's probably no other listings on the auction house, so it's going to post at the normal price, which is usually a higher number. with the default operations that you're using. Now to post, you click on just post. Very, very simple, and just like that, you'll have them up in the auction house. Now you can use a TSM macro to post, and you basically just spam the macro. To actually get hold of the macro, you want to bring up your TSM window, go to settings, go to macros, and then you want to select what you want the actual macro to do. So as you can see, you can select all of them if you want, and then it'll say create macro if it's your first time doing it. You want to click on that, and you actually have a macro in your macros, like in actual WoW, and it'll be called TSM macro. You want to put that onto the bars wherever you want it to be keybind at. What I recommend doing is making a keybind, which is scroll wheel mouse up and down. So one for scroll wheel when it goes up, and then one for scroll wheel when it goes down. And you can basically just scroll your mouse wheel up and down, and it will spam post the items for you, and that is the quickest way to post items. So we have the basic group. Now this can work if you're just selling farmed items and want to do it very, very basic. So you can do it like this, and there's an easy way for beginners to get started. Now I'll show you actually how to create your own groups. So if you want to make a group with operations to sell it at a specific price, or do other things with it, if you just want to sell one at a time, or you want to post it for say 48 hours instead of 24 hours, whatever you want to do with it, you can set up in the operations. But to create the actual new groups is very, very simple. So you come to this right here, this X, well the plus, and you click on that, and it will create a new group. Now anything that is in your inventory, you can actually straight away put them into the group. So say we want to make a transmog group, we can select all of these like this. So we'll go through all the transmog pieces we have in our inventory, and just like that, we can click on add the items, and this will put them into the group. There's a few more transmog items just for this example, and as you can see, they've all been added to the group now. Now another way to add the items to a group is you can actually just search for them straight up, and then you can put them into the actual group. Now to add items like this, you want to click on the base group, and then you want to search up the item. So let's do the skull flame shield for an example. So here it is right here, and then you want to select it, and then where it says select group, you want to select your new group that you just made, select it, and then click on move to. Now if we go to our new group, you'll see right here that it's been added, the skull flame shield. Just like that. Very simple to add items to a group. You just need to make sure that you go on base group, search them here, and then add them through here, and then they'll be in the groups. Now that is how you set up a group. Now I'll show you how to play around with the operation. So we've got a new group. If we go to operations, we can see that it's all to the default group. So the operation that is connected to this specific group is default, 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 default. Let's go ahead and make another auctioning. Auctioning is basically just for selling. It means selling. Let's create another operation right here. So now we have new operation 1. So as you can see, we can play around with it. We want to post, say we want to post these transmog items for 48 hours. We only want to post one of these at a time, just for an example. And now if the item is below a certain price point, do we want to post that? Probably not if we're doing transmogs. Now you can play around with this. However, if you're a beginner, I do just recommend sticking to the basics. Always keep your undercut amount to 0. This means you'll post the exact same price as everyone else, the lowest price on the market. However, you won't undercut them by a price amount. You'll just post after them. So when that item actually sells, if you're the most recent person to repost that item, you'll actually get the sale, even though you're the same price as the other people. If you post after them, you'll be the first to get the sale. You'll be the next in line, basically. So you can just stick with this basic operations right here. However, if you want some more experienced operations that are a bit more detailed, I do teach that inside of my gold making guide. If you want to check that out for selling farmed items, it has the operations for my TSM for selling them. And then I also have some really in-depth operations and groups for flipping. This is for flipping items, so buying them on the auction house and then reselling them. I have some really in-depth operations, and the groups have around, I think it's like 8,000 hand-picked items to actually flip that I recommend flipping, that I've hand-picked over the years. But enough of that. basically we're setting up the new operation. So say we want to have it so it's set up just like this, so we're selling every 48 hours. Now what you want to do, this group isn't connected, this operation isn't connected to a group yet. So what you can do is you can go to details and you can come down to group management. And this is where you can actually add this operation to any of the groups that you create, just like this. So we'll select the new group we made, and then just like that, this operation is now connected to that group. So when we go to the auction house and we want to only have this group selected and sell just this group, we will click on run post scan, and then all the transmog items that we added to it, as you can see, will come up right here. So all 13 of them, and it will post them with our new operations, and these are all within inside our group that are in our inventory. So that is how you make a basic group and connect the operations to it. Now I'll show you real quickly how to make a professions group, a very basic one, but I'll show you how to do it. Alright, so we're on my leatherworking and tailoring character. Now to make a group, a TSM group for these exact professions, what you want to do, it's very simple. You want to open up the profession window and you want to open it up with TSM. So you just open up the basic one, and at the top it says TSM 4. You want to click on that and it'll bring up this window right here. So this is your professions window. And now, as you can see right here, under these like 3 little dot things, it says create profession groups. And if you simply click on this, it will add all the things that you can craft into a group. So let's do that. We just did it for our, what are we in right here? Is it leatherworking? Yeah, leatherworking. So if we open up our groups, we'll see that we have leatherworking. So where is it? Right here. And now we'll make a group. It'll have one group of all the things that you can actually craft with the profession, and then we'll have a second group with all the materials required for that. So when you're actually doing crafts, now you have a group of everything that you can craft in that profession. Now you can actually play around with the operations. So I have ones from my paid guides right here set up already for them to sell crafted transmog pieces and any other crafts in that matter. However, the default operations for crafted and selling crafted is alright, and it can actually work. So if you're a beginner, I recommend just using the beginner operations for selling your crafted, and this will be under auctioning for selling, and then under crafting operations it will just be default and also default. They can work for beginners. There is a lot more experienced ways to do it. However, I don't want to get you too confused. If you're a beginner with TSM, you can just use the default and that will work for you. Now, one thing that I do want to show you, when you are doing this, you can actually play around with the amount of profit. Now, this is a big thing and really important. What I recommend using and changing the default thing to, if you're going to be using it for the default crafting operation, I recommend changing it 1 to 1. So basically, as soon as you sell out of one item, when you restock, it will get you to restock basically as soon as you sell an item. So you always have one of that item up on the auction house. But the main thing I wanted to show you here was this thing right here. It has a minimum profit amount. So as you can see, I've just got 15%. So anything that gives me 15% profit for that craft, it will actually get me to craft that. And where I'm talking about this is when you restock with your TSM. So you can actually set up the groups, and let's click leatherworking items. So we have that set up, and then when you click on restock, it'll bring up all the items that you can craft that are over that 15% profit mark. So as you can see, we can craft nearly 500,000 profit worth of leatherworking crafts. So as you can see, this profits 149k, 55k, 33k profit. And then to actually buy all the materials for this, you'd go to gathering, select the crafter. So we're on my leather worker, and then you'd click on open task operation or task list, and then this will bring up everything that you need to do to make all those crafts happen. So buy from the auction house, leatherworking crafts, and then what we need to buy from the vendor. You'd do all that, and you would have all those items, and in my personal case with this right now, I'd make around 500k estimated profit, which is really, really good. But that is how you make the basic groups for TSM if you're just getting started. Hopefully this has helped you out. If it has, hit that thumbs up button. If you already own one of my guides and are inside of my private Discord, if you're having any troubles with any of this, just shoot me a message on Discord and I'll be happy to give you a hand sorting everything out. Anyways guys, until the next video, take care.